Alright guys, Kremp again. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The drama continues with the CDL releasing another piece of content last night with some comms from the Vegas Falcons series. We saw Shotzzy not very happy when they did the same for OpTic just the other day, and this was once again, you could argue, at OpTic's expense. Some very interesting words here shared. We saw what the Falcons guys, especially Pred, had to say for OpTic at the end of that series they played a few days ago, but now it's Arcitys talking about Huke and his playstyle on the map. Clayster chiming in as well, definitely having their criticisms for the impact that Huke has in terms of his playstyle and the way that they're executing right now on OpTic Texas. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Plenty to get into today as always. Bit of team chemistry building here going on with the FaZe guys. I think the FaZe team is very interesting in many respects. And we talked about this briefly last night on the Dope Check show, that as a team, they are like a team and they spend their time together as a team and they don't really mess with anyone else. I think that's the point, really. Like when you see them at events, for example, out this back of the Dallas venue, they were there playing, you know, they were just like playing ball, basically just like chucking a ball back and forth. But it was the whole team, right? Crowder was there, I think RJ was there, but and then they had obviously Drazah, Simp, aBeZy and Cellium, right? They had the full team, and you don't really tend to see Simp or any of those other guys like chilling with some other players during the event weekends. You know, they are there to be a team and that's how they'll execute, and they'll, you know, go bowling together and stuff. We saw that Kenny took the boys on Rocket for this the other day, and as Drazah says, thank God my boys are good at COD. Hashtag champ, although some of his teammates weren't convinced of this in the replies. aBeZy says it was my second time playing, why lie to the fans? And Simp says the game just hoed us, you've seen it live. So don't know what happened there. Probably we're not going to get a vlog about it because, you know, that's what they do. They're here to win. They're not necessarily here to make so much content. This was interesting, and we'll definitely talk about Huke as the video goes on. It's kind of the point of the video, really, with what Arcitys had to say. But in terms of most improved players from last year to this year, because of course last year Arcitys and Huke played together, right, on the Surge. They were Seattle Surge back then. Huke this year has been really strong. Statistically has been very strong. A lot of that comes from his stints during the first major when he was really good. OpTic went 6-1, #1 seed. Let's not forget for Major 1 in Madrid. But these are the other notable players who have improved KD-wise. Now you'll find a lot of these are SMGs, and that probably makes sense given the way that the game plays. Last year, I mean, the Rival was good for sure. The MCW was very good. And this year, probably the balance between the Jackal and the aims is different, and the movement mechanics and everything, I think, definitely favours SMGs. I mean, JoeDeceives and Kremp were pretty good players last year. Certainly at the end of the year for Thieves, they started to really turn up. But JoeDeceives ended last year overall with a 0.93. Kremp ended overall a 0.94. Both of those guys have been real strong this season. I don't think that's just the Jackal being better. I don't think it's just the game being better suited to SMGs. I think they've really kicked on and played some great stuff. JoeDeceives is one of the best players in the game. This guy is disgusting to watch. 1.07 so far this year. Kremp also one of the most improved. Snoopy is, like, I think Snoopy's better this year than last year for sure. Maybe there's a bit of a Jackal buff in there too, but Snoopy's had a good season so far as we know. Estriel, Nastie as well, better season, obviously not an SMG. Real, TJ, Kismet, and then Slasher is here too. But, you know, some players that have improved a bit, but the most notable one by a mile is Huke. I mean, Huke's got a 1.13 so far this season, and last year he had a 0.92. So, like, that's a crazy increase. And okay, he's not played the whole year because Pred's played at the start, then Pred came back, and then Huke is back in. So the sample size isn't as great as a guy like JoeDeceives. But there's no denying that Huke is way better at this game than he was at the previous games in terms of just impact and execution, and it makes sense the way that the game plays. The question is, okay, how much impact is that KD actually having, and how is this Shotzzy Huke dynamic really working out? Because it is a big conversation with that duo always. That sure, online, generally, not too much to worry about. Shotzzy and Huke will play off each other relatively well. They play a similar style of COD, and, you know, more often than not, you'd expect it to work, although last weekend was definitely a serious struggle. On LAN, that's always where the questions have been to, okay, like, is Huke going to be able to turn up here? How's it going to work? You know, Shotzzy, Huke, is it the most fundamental SMG duo? No, and maybe on this game that's a bit of a problem, but in terms of pure performance, it's not been bad. So we'll get back to Huke in a second. Couple of interesting clips to share too. This I thought was a pretty funny throwback actually with Drazah and Pred. You guys might remember this, when OpTic played FaZe back at the World Cup, and the first map, I think it might have been a Rio, the first map they just absolutely slammed them. And it was like, oh my god, like OpTic are insane, they're going to win this. And then of course eventually FaZe brought it back, they won the series, and they went on to win the World Cup out there in Riyadh. There was also this interesting clip where they were discussing whether Falcons can make it to the World Championship. The reality is they can. It is not impossible. But, well, as they say, you have to win one and get top 2, which is probably about right. I mean, we were discussing this on the show last night as well, what you guys think the cutoff number is for making it to champs. So keep in mind, we've got 2 more majors, and we have, for these teams, 6 to 7 more qualifier games over, until the World Championship. So there's technically about 260, 270 points on the line. If Falcons were to pick all of those up, they would have not too much difficulty. Just to break down the numbers as well, so let's just look at Major 1 and go to the Major LAN. So if you win an event, you get 100 points. If you're second, you get 75, 60 for third, 45 for fourth, and then 30, 15, and 0. So if you get 2 top 6s, that's 60 points. And if you get, obviously a first is 100, right? So if you're looking, that you can look at this from a number of different teams' perspectives, and probably we will do in due course. But if you look at the Falcons, if they win, they have what, 6? They have 7 qualifiers left today. Let's say they win 4 of those qualifiers out of the 7, and they get to 50 points. Then they would need to they would need to get seconds both events, I think, would get them in. And a win and like a top 4 would get them in. But Falcons realistically have to make probably both finals, I would say, in order to make it to champs. But that's not like entirely impossible, maybe. I mean, both finals gets you 150 points. With some online qualifier wins, that might be enough. I think the cutoff is going to be something like 180 points, something in that kind of ballpark, because if these teams, 15 points, 30 points for a major placing, if you get double top 6, that's 60 points. That would take, if Rocco got double top 6, that would take them to 160. With some online qualifier wins, that would probably be enough. So, obviously someone's got to get top 12 as well, and you get 0 points for that. So that's kind of my feeling, 175, 180, but intrigued to your thoughts, what the cutoff will be in the comments below. But yeah, Falcons certainly can make it, but it is certainly a challenge. Let's talk about the league, because the other day there was a bit of drama on the 8th of April, so literally a week ago as of today, when they put this tweet out there, which was comparing the previous OpTic team's comms, which did not sound very good, and the new OpTic team's comms. Now, obviously, this was cherry-picked, and it was good content, but I certainly understand why Shotzzy was on stream saying, that's kind of a strange thing to tweet, right? Because effectively, it's taken a bit of a dig at the previous team and using their comms to that end. But speaking of comms videos, we got another one, and I know that this just happens to be against OpTic. On some level, it just happened to be against OpTic. I know that there will be OpTic fans that say, look, here go the league again, right? Like, slamming OpTic and all this. But mainly this is about the Falcons. I mean, this is their first series win. I think they would have done this. Like, the league would have made this video anyway, whoever they played. But like for their first win. But because it was against OpTic, obviously it got especially spicy. And a few interesting moments here. We know that the Pred moment at the end, calling the guys terrible, I mean, he brought some crazy energy. But the one clip that, well, it was actually this clip right here that I'm about to play for you guys, when they were talking about Kyler, of course, that being Huke, and how he was playing on the map. Clayster has given his thoughts during the series, and, well, clearly Arcitys has his perspective on it as well.
Champs and Kitchen, like, ooh, who even wants to win that?
Depending how shit goes, that shit might be whack as fuck. Or
like, who gives a fuck about that ring? That's like a Mickey ring or some shit.
Free calling Mickey rings, God.
Guy with 10 points. The guy with 10 points is calling it a Mickey ring. I'm actually gonna make champs anyway. I'm just gonna like get to a final or something real quick. Get 100 points. Wait, is it even possible, bro? I think it is.
Yeah, you guys probably win out and you win, like, you get like top 2 at both. It's probably, how much?
Top 2 at both is crazy. Like,
how many points is top 2? I'd win them both back to back.
Like, win back to back and win every online match.
If you just start running shit, yeah, I mean, it's possible for sure.
Okay, well, let me ask you.
You have to win one and then get like top 2, yeah.
So it's 100 points. How much do you get if you like? What do you get for tournaments like top 4? If you get 4, how many points do you get?
I think fourth is 45.
I've only got first.
Well, 6 is 30, so.
Man, you got first. What is that? 100 points? I need I need 100. You get another spare pair of shoes or some shit.
They go straight to the closet, man.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think fourth is only 40 points.
There's fist bumps up
The gold.
That gold.
My gold.
Playstyle.
Oh, let's go.
Let's keep the energy up. Let's go. Let's go. We know what we do, man. We're f***ing working hard. Let's go. Come on.
One more week. Come on, Aaron said you want to ape. I was like, I'm down. Hold on, dude.
He has to be on like 30th of
turned on again? Yo, Kyler just got. No, do you want to ape him or do you want to do it?
Yeah, wait.
Alright, I'm holding right.
Back up, Skyz, absolute.
Nice, let's go, AG. Holy what'd you just do to them, brother? No, I had him so one shot, bro.
Bro, I'm calling 3 at 8. How do they cross?
I'm telling you. Nice! I'm point.
One more. Nice!
Nice! Good shit.
That's how you make those fucking plays. You should have seen what I just did.
Kyler hit A to vault to beat him.
Yeah. Behind pods. Brother. Kyler is everywhere but nowhere, dog. Lock it back home. Come on. Yep.
Come on.
Being the goat, same wavelength right now. He's literally only good online.
Don't be weird, bro.
Don't about that. My fault. Piano, Dashy. Dead.
Let's go! Good time.
Let's go!
So to me, this is like relatively light trash talk, right? I don't really see a massive deal with this. And again, this is comms during a series that the players, look, they don't have any control on whether it gets published or not, to my understanding. But, you know, they are aware that this potential, you know, this type of stuff could be recorded, if you see what I'm saying, right? Like, these are public comms. The league can do what they want. That's the point, really. Like, they have the comms. If they want to make a video out of the comms, that's what they're going to do. So if you're a player and you're talking about stuff with the team, then obviously it's got the potential that it's going to come out there publicly, which is exactly what happened here. Is it a big deal? I mean, he says Kyler's everywhere but nowhere, which I thought was a pretty interesting assessment, right? Because, yeah, Huke's moving around the map. He's moving different. He's taking space. But is he taking important space? That's always been the question with Huke. And look, as good as Huke has been for OpTic, I think, this season in general, let's not forget when Huke made that play on, you know, not to give you PTSD, but when he made that play on Hydroelectric Hardpoint back in MW2, when he gave up the mid-cut, Kismet came through, takes him down, and then, of course, the rest is history, right? So it's always been the thing with Huke, and that season, Karma, even before he was coaching the team, was very critical of Huke's play at times in terms of his decision-making, right? And it's, you live and you die by it, I think. With Huke, you live and you die by it. You know what you get with Huke, and it's probably going to work on occasion, but is it gonna, you know, is it gonna be good enough to win you LAN events? I mean, look, it could, but the consistency is not necessarily going to be there, and I think that's what Arcitys is getting at, to say, look, Kyler's everywhere, but nowhere at the same time. Like, he's just not being impactful on the map. That would be the argument, really. Now, understandably, people are going to say, look, Arcitys, you know, maybe focus on keeping a spot, right? Like, I saw lots of reaction to this, saying that he's been out of the league now for obviously a little while. Arcitys, he's made his spot back into the league. Huke has a pretty stable spot in the league, as we know, as in somebody's always going to pick him up, rather than, you know, his spot isn't that stable in the sense that OpTic keep getting rid of him every so often. But yeah, still very interesting stuff to think about, because Huke's, let's say, decision making, he brings the energy, right? Like, he tries his best, and I think he is an incredibly talented player, and he plays great cards sometimes, but there are problems with his play. And look, at the end of the day, when they formed that team going into MW3 with Pred and Kenny, I think most of us were in unanimous agreement that it was the right thing to do. You bring in a player who's probably going to be a bit more fundamentally solid in Pred and similarly talented, and was perfect for that game and that team. And then you bring in Kenny to help kind of keep a bit of a leash on things. you've now got Kenny gone, and it's not exactly to say that Kenny gone and Pred gone were bad decisions, because for various reasons I think both of those things needed to happen, but they now don't have that player who maybe has the ability to keep on top of some of these issues. So maybe Falcons felt it in their series. Obviously it was just not a good performance really from OpTic anyway. Maybe anyone would have beaten them in that moment, but certainly intrigued to your perspective on all of this stuff as always in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.